Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for being with us today. You know, I know this guy, so sweet, in Central High School a few years ago, and then, I don't know, something happened to him. He became the face of evil on the hit show Heroes. We have Zach Quinto with us today, and I'm so excited to bring him out. Zach. Look at him. Hello.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, too. Good to see you,
Yeah, it's good to be back home.
Is it?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Congratulations, too, by the way, on this.
Thank you so much.
New, exciting thing. It's really good to be here.
It is exciting. You know, we're busy now. When we last met, how many kids did we have? Did we have any children?
Oh, yeah, you had a few. At least 3, I think, by then,
We're
right?
up to 5
yeah,
now.
Yeah, I know. I saw the picture in the magazine. You guys all look great.
We're up to 5.
On the ice skating rink.
Thank you. You know what? I'm looking at him. How many of you watched the show? Yeah. It's hard for me to sit here and look at his eyes. You all will understand that then. I'm afraid you're going to get that gloss. Don't you dare do that to me. You little cute face of evil, you. So what has this been like? What a whirlwind trip.
Yeah.
And then this is not your first gig. You were on 24.
Right.
Touched by an Angel.
Sure. I've been in LA for a while. I've been at it for a while. So this is definitely the most rewarding of the experiences that I've had out there, the most fulfilling creatively. You know, it's sometimes hard to find the balance between moving your career forward and gaining a sense of fulfillment from what you're doing in Los Angeles, you know. But this has definitely been the best of all of that wrapped up in one.
And how has this been with the Now, you won this role. You fought for this role. When we first saw you, you were a nerd on the show. You were this nerdy watchmaker, clock fixer guy.
Right.
And you really worked, from what I understand, to make that your role. To make
I mean, you know, the audition process was such that I don't think they knew exactly what they wanted for this character, and they spent the first few episodes of the show. I came in on episode 8. So from episode 2 to episode 8, those episodes really built this character up, and they sort of set it up as this really imposing, monstrous figure. And then they started casting for it. So I really don't think they knew what they were looking for. And what I brought to it was something really specific and something really unique that I think that they were surprised by, but that they somehow related to. So yeah, and then it just became this evolution. I don't think anybody could have imagined how people would have responded to it, or how the character would have really found its way as it did. So that's just something that happens once an actor joins up with the writing and sort of creates that, you know?
And that's the fun of it for you, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's the best part, definitely.
Do you like being evil?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Evil is actually probably the most fun you can have, I think. Yeah, I think so, because you get to explore parts of yourself that you don't otherwise get to explore. So it's a lot of fun in that regard, and you do it in an environment that's still really structured and safe, you know. So that's a good opportunity. Do you get the name when you go out? Is everybody Siler? Yeah, you know, it's funny. Like, you know, when I first started, it was definitely that way, and now people are starting to make the segue much more into to my name. You know? Yeah, it is good. It is good. And I make a rule, like if I'm walking down the street and I encounter somebody, they're like, you're Siler, you know, and I'll certainly engage them in a conversation. But if I'm walking down the street and someone hollers from a distance, I don't respond to that. You know, I think it's really important that you sort of set up who you are and your boundaries and how you relate to people as you enter into a world where you start relating to people on a lot bigger scale. You know. Good for you, because how tough is that to find your way? I mean, you know, you're in this place where we see the magazine covers, we see the problems with young celebrities, we see a lot of the different ways that things can twist and turn and the negative effects. So how do you really make it a point and a priority to, hey, no, this is where my head is? Yeah, I think it's essential. I mean, I've been in LA for almost 8 years, so for me, it's something, you know, I'm about to be 30, and this is happening at a time in my life where I feel really sort of settled in who I am and confident in the person that I'm becoming, and that's not always the case when things happen really fast and you're really young and it's so shiny and it's so seductive, and it is really powerful. And the thing that I've learned is, like, you have to set your boundaries and you have to know who you are, and you have to stand with that, and there are certain things that you can't compromise or can't give up, you know. Otherwise, I think you are in a little bit of trouble, potentially.
Did I see you hanging out with Rumor Willis?
Yeah, sure. She's really good friends with Hayden, and I'm really good friends with Hayden. So,
yeah.
you know, and things like that, you know, people see you with people, and things get spun out of control, and things get said, and things get written, and you just have to really know who you are and know how to maintain a certain amount of imperviousness to that, you know, I think.
We know who you are. You're a Central Catholic grad.
I know, right next door, right?
Yeah, you're a Central Catholic grad. And Zach mentioned he worked with my husband. I met Zach. How old would you have been?
Probably like 13, 14.
13 or 14. And he was so good. He was so good in high school as a performer. Yeah, look, okay, that's my husband right beside Zach.
Directing us in Godspell,
yeah. Yeah, in Godspell, and you won Gene Kelly Awards.
Yeah, for Pirates of Penzance, which Joe also directed. And,
there you
and
are.
also in 17. Oh,
look at you.
Yeah, that's great.
Can we
that's
thank
lovely.
your mother
Thanks
for that one this morning?
Sure.
She's here. Where's Mom? Hello.
Right there.
Hello, Mom. How are you doing today? What's it like for you to have the face of evil in your home?
Well, I thought it might be a little scary, but so far, no, it's fine.
And you're not letting Hollywood get the best of him, are you?
Well, I'm trying my best not to. But that's a little difficult.
Plug your ears, Zach. Has it changed him?
Yes, a little bit.
Are you okay with that, though? He's not here.
A
you can talk.
bit.
Just look right at me. You look right at me. Don't influence her, you face of evil guy. You.
No, I think he's still true to himself.
You can see that
Yes,
in him.
yes.
Yeah, you wouldn't have it any
I was
other
very
way.
impressed with some discussions we had this time that he's home, that he's managing quite well. Without my advice, I may add. But
well, now what? He knows your number, right? Why isn't he calling? I don't understand.
Right.
It does change a family, though, doesn't it, Zach? I mean, it does change
I mean,
things.
you know, I've really felt like, and I've said this before, there's a lot more exposure, and there's a lot more excitement in my life, certainly, and it's changed for the better. But as I said, like I've really worked on who I am and who I want to be. And I think that the only career that could ever really be rewarding is one that blends those two things, you know. The minute you give up any sense of who you are or what's important to you, I think you're in real trouble, you know, because I think the nature of the industry, especially in Los Angeles, especially in that Hollywood world, is that you know, people will take whatever you give them, and once you start giving things of yourself, I think you're in dangerous territory, because ultimately it's a very ephemeral, sort of empty sort of thing that you can plug into, and if you do plug into it, I think you'll find that that it's not as I don't know, glossy as it might first appear to be. Yeah.
It's beautiful. Stick with that, and you know, you're going to be a great role model to some of the people we have on today's show.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we have some other stars from our area coming up, some younger people who are working on their careers as well, so stick with us, and we'll listen to them and more right after this. Evil with us in the audience. He's still looking shadowy. Zach, I want to ask you, you know, we have all these young people here and their moms, and you've been through this, you know.
Sure.
What would you say to them? I loved your information earlier about keeping grounded as they continue to pursue this career. You know, we were talking earlier, it's not an easy thing. You've got to have a stomach for it.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting, when I was a kid, they would always bring to my high school and to my college even people that had been doing it for years. And the one thing that they always said is, if you ever get to a point where you can imagine yourself doing something else, then you should do that something else, you know. And I can attest to that. I never really understood what that meant then, because I had that very youthful energy of like, well, you know, I'm an actor and that's all there is to it. But when you get into the life of it, it is a very difficult road, regardless of whether you achieve the level of success that you aspire to at some point or not. The journey to that point is, regardless, it's got a lot of ups and downs. And I think unless you really have it in your core to pursue that lifestyle, then you're going to come up against a lot of stuff that is kind of overwhelming, I think, you know?
Yeah.
So as long as it's like everybody said here, as long as it's what you love, and as long as you enjoy doing it, and as long as it's not a chore, then there's a lot of fun to be had.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you to all of our guests today. Thank Thank you, thank you. We like to leave you every day with a little 10-minute tip. Take 10 with Jen, we call it. Something that you can do in 10 minutes or less to make your life easier. And today, since we're talking about celebrity and stardom, we thought it would be good to share a little tip with you from Zach Quinto, actually, about how to stay focused no matter what your dreams are. If you take just 10 minutes or less a day to really sit still, prioritize yourself, keep focused, even write down what your plans are, what your goals are, what your dreams are. Keep yourself focused, and it's going to help you achieve that goal. Little vacation for yourself, 10 minutes or less a day. Thanks so much for being with us. Hope you had a good time. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next week.